How is it going? I hope everyone is doing well, and thank you for tuning into this video. As you can see by the title below, I'll be giving you guys my review of the first chapter of the 5-part brand new WWE Network series, Undertaker: The Last Ride, which we saw premiere this past Sunday. And without wasting any more time, I'm going to jump right into things. First and foremost, I want to warn everyone that I will be discussing spoilers of the first chapter, so if you've not yet seen it, I would not recommend watching this video just for spoiler reasons. Unless you just don't care, then go ahead, but if you do care for spoilers, I would not recommend watching this video until you've seen the first chapter yourself. But yeah, this first chapter of the highly anticipated documentary series, I know since they first announced it around WrestleMania time, everyone's been very excited and raving for it, and the first part finally aired. The next 4 parts will be premiering over the next month or so, I believe, going into, I believe, mid-June, if not late June, I think they'll be premiering into. So we got some good content coming up. But yeah, this is the first chapter of it. The very first time the Undertaker has allowed his career to be documented. Obviously in the past before, he's been part of documentaries and stuff like that, but he's never actually legitimately had a camera crew follow him around. I know he's done like that VHS tape back in the day, like the This Is My Yard set he did, where he did that kayfabe documentary, but he's never actually had a legit camera crew follow him around and him not being characters. So this was a very rare opportunity, and obviously it was done because he knew his time was coming to an end. Obviously, I think when he first started this, I think he thought it was over at that time, but obviously, he's went on longer than he anticipated, and obviously we'll see how that develops in the future episodes. But the end of this first episode obviously hinted that this was probably going to be his last time. But obviously the preview for the next chapter hinted why he came back. But we'll look into that more later. But yeah, first chapter in the very anticipated documentary for The Undertaker. Obviously, right from the get-go, they put over The Undertaker, talking about the success of his character, how he's been the most dedicated person to his character ever. Undertaker's always been The Undertaker. He's never really been Mark Calaway in anything. He's always been The Undertaker, and he lived and breathed the character, and that's why he's always so successful, and obviously the most respected wrestler of all time, if you ask me. He was the locker room leader. Everyone looked up to him, for a reason, and it was just because he was that dedicated. And I don't think there'll be a person highly praised and respected as The Undertaker, which led to the talk about how the streak all of a sudden came into effect. All of a sudden, once it was pointed out that Undertaker was undefeated at WrestleMania, that's when the streak kind of developed its own life and kind of developed its own persona for WrestleMania. And that was a big reason you wanted to see WrestleMania, is because you wanted to see The Undertaker continue that streak, see who was potentially going to break that streak. And, it definitely was a huge part of WrestleMania. I definitely will say ever since the streak ended, WrestleMania hasn't felt the same, really. But, yeah, it had a huge impact in terms of, WrestleMania being what it was for, that good portion of a while once the streak got acknowledged. But then, of course, we started going to, the talks of, once Undertaker died down to about that part-time schedule, and really once he started working about one time a year, which was just WrestleMania. Talked about, how he did the matches with Shawn Michaels for WrestleMania 25 and 26. He was pretty beat up and sore, but he was still feeling all right. It wasn't until the match at WrestleMania 27 that really fucked him up. That match was really brutal on his body, and that's what really kind of put him out for a while. He had to stay in his hotel room for 2 days after that match because he was so beat up. So that match really took a toll on him, and that's, afterward, that's when he got his hip fixed, and, he came back for WrestleMania 28, and he did the match there, and had his little mini run after that, I believe, with the Shield, and then, of course, had his stunt for WrestleMania 29, and he said he was feeling good. That post-hip surgery really helped him out, and then WrestleMania 30 happened, New Orleans, and obviously everyone knows what happened. Undertaker got concussed, he got taken to the hospital afterwards, but, they dive deeper into it in this documentary, obviously, and you learn more information that I didn't know. Undertaker states that he actually has no memory of the match. His earliest memory of that day period actually was, 3 p.m. that day. So he has no idea how he even performed, has no idea how he had the match, nothing. He has no memory of any of it, which is absolutely insane. That just goes to show you how fucked up he was, how badly injured he got in that match, where he has absolutely no memory of it even happening. So yeah, they dove deep into that, and they got pretty heavily deep into that whole situation. And like I said, it definitely was a lot worse than what the reports initially came out around that time, saying what happened to him. So it was just crazy, hearing him talk about the whole situation. And then, of course, afterwards, after WrestleMania 30, he completely lost confidence in himself. That performance in that match in general really kind of made him believe that he was just a parody of himself. That was his greatest fear, was being a parody of himself, and he was becoming that. And then, but he kind of used that match as motivation to have to come back. And Triple H, they have a moment in the documentary where Undertaker's prepping for his match against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 31, and Undertaker, Triple H goes up to Undertaker and kind of sits next to him, says, "What, hey, remember who the fuck you are," and kind of sets him straight. And Undertaker went out there and had the match with Bray Wyatt, and he said he felt really good. He started feeling like the Undertaker again, and that's why he went on to have that mini run in that summer, against Brock Lesnar, against that SummerSlam, of course, and had the Hell in a Cell match. So, and then he had the matches with the Wyatt family afterward as well. So, he gained his confidence back and he was feeling good. And then, his matches with Brock, though, especially the Hell in a Cell, and then, he had Hell in a Cell again against Shane. I didn't even think about that. Undertaker had 2 Hell in a Cell matches in a span of 6 months. That's definitely got to take a whole toll on your body. But yeah, having those matches, those Hell in a Cell matches, really took a toll on his body. And he said that's when he really started noticing the wear and tear. And then once the Royal Rumble 2017 happened, that's when he knew. He said, "Why am I here? What the fuck did I get myself into? I do not belong in the ring with this guy." Referring to Roman Reigns, knowing what what level Roman Reigns is at in terms of how he can compete, and knowing what level he can compete at. He just knew that he had no business being in that match, and he knew that he kind of backed himself into a corner, and he had no choice but to do it. But yeah, at the Royal Rumble, he kind of realized he was pretty much done. And then, throughout the WrestleMania weekend, they showed some highlights of The Undertaker interacting with people like Roman Reigns and old legends and whatnot. And they really kind of humanized Undertaker, which that's one thing I really like about this documentary, is they really try to humanize Undertaker as Mark Calloway. They weren't trying to sell you an Undertaker, which obviously they had to at the beginning. They really wanted to nail in how dedicated he was as Undertaker. But they're also nailing in the fact that he's a regular person. He's Mark Calloway. So I really like the way they were portraying both of his personas in this documentary and how dedicated he was to his character, which is why you never really saw Mark Calloway out of him. So I thought that was tremendous. And of course, obviously, they highlight the whole WrestleMania 33 weekend, or the 33 match itself, him getting to the stadium, his knee bothering him before the match, where he actually had to get some shots in his knee to help him not, limp around and be in that much pain. And of course, the match happens, and at the time, it seems like he was happy with it. Obviously, they did show the spots where he was kind of fucking up and botching, but after the match, he had a smile on his face. He had his whole big send off where he took his gloves off and everything. A huge emotional video package with the piano cover of his theme. Just tremendous stuff overall. Tremendous stuff. Made me feel those feelings I had back at the Citrus Bowl at WrestleMania 33 live, being there live, I should say. Just had all those feelings again, and it was a tremendous video package for him. And obviously, they go to him in the trainer's room, and it's him and Vince hugging and talking. And Taker pretty much said, he's gonna run the wheels till they fall off. He pretty much feels that he owes his life to Vince. He pretty much said, he'll be done when Vince tells him he's done. He says as long as Vince feels like, or as long as he feels Vince needs him and Vince keeps calling for him, he'll keep performing. So pretty much at this point, it's up to Vince. Until Vince tells Undertaker that he's done, Undertaker even said it. He'll keep coming in until, as long as he possibly can, until Vince tells him he's done. And, I think right here he thought he was done. And then I think Vince thought he was done too. That's how everything played out. And honestly, you would have thought it was a storybook ending right there. You thought this documentary could have been a one-part thing. That match could have been it for him, would have been over. But then they showed the preview for Chapter 2, which is called The Redemption. And what you see in The Redemption is him watching over the match at WrestleMania 33 and talking about how disgusted and disappointed he is with himself with his performance. Obviously, that's what led to his comeback in 2018. So it just seems like when he wants to be done, he gets sucked right back in, as he said in the documentary as well. So, yeah, tremendous way to start the series. Like I said, this could have been it, but it was a storybook ending if you ask me. The way WrestleMania 33 happened, that could have been a perfect way to go out. Yeah, he didn't perform the greatest, but how everything planned out and just played out was perfect. Obviously, he came back, had more matches, and then the one thing I am really excited to hear about is the match with Goldberg. That's the one part I'm really excited to hear about, whichever episode that may be in. But yeah, Chapter 1, the first of the last ride, definitely was a great way to start the series. I'm very, very intrigued with it. My honest opinion, I'm saying this now, I think the end goal of this documentary will be the Undertaker announcing his retirement. I think this is how it's all going to end. You know, he's doing a lot more media. I mean, hell, he was just on the bump the other day, for fuck's sake. Like, The Undertaker on the bump? Like, come on. So I do think the ending goal of this documentary series is that Undertaker will announce his retirement. That's why this is all happening. This is why he wants his career documented, and that's why they're releasing it now, because I do think Undertaker is finished, and that's how it's all going to end at the end of it. But yeah, overall, like I said, chapter 1 definitely was a great introduction to the series. Very excited to see the rest of the series and how it all plays out. Very, very excited. And yeah, I can't wait for it. I'll definitely be making reviews for all of it. So I'll be doing my own little 5-part series of reviews for all the chapters that I released. So stay tuned for all of those. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like. And of course, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching this video.